What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Hope everyone's doing amazing. You know, we're getting into summer. Weather does not show it out here in LA, though, because it is just all over the place. So, but I'm getting off topic. This is a movie that may be super, what's the word? Some people, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have been looking forward to this movie. Me, not so much. I just, but you know what? It actually surprised me. And we're talking about the newest film in the Fast and Furious franchise, Fast X. And it's starring Vin Diesel. Oh my God, I can't talk right now.
Just everyone from the Fast Furious movie. They've had the same cast for like 20 movies at this point, so it's like, yeah, they're all back.
You're right. It's just one of those things. Like, I'm just blanking out on it right now. Michelle Rodriguez, like Burns said, all the favorites, especially within the last I hate to say it, 10 years now, and it's hard to believe this movie's going on for 22 years, ever since Fast and Furious 1 with Paul Walker, God rest him. But this is a non-spoiler review, so please do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell for notifications, and of course subscribe so you stay up to date on all our content. We do appreciate you, and we love making content for you guys. We try to look our best for you guys, so just remember that, shall you? Anyways, so this one, again, the 10th movie in the franchise, God forbid. It is essentially Dom and his family are once again put in danger by an old foe from his past. And that foe is Jason Momoa's character, which again I'm not going to get too much into the spoilers of it because it kind of is necessary for the story. And we also have,
I mean, they basically spell it out in the trailer. You know, he's the son of a villain from the 5th movie, so it's like, yeah, there's that lineage there.
Yeah, true. Like I said, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are like, oh my God, I have to go see Fast X. It looks amazing, and I'm just like, good for you.
I figure if it's in the trailer, it's not really a spoiler. Then at that point, it's just like
true.
They're really digging back into the whole Fast Five of it all. I'll say that up front.
If I'm just speaking now, I would love for them to bring back Cole Hauser's villain from Too Fast, Too Furious. What the hell was his name? I can't think of it now, but he was. But in Too Fast, Too Furious, I like that he went up against Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson's character. I'm surprised they never tried to get him back, and now he's doing well on Yellowstone and a couple other things. It'd be great to have him back, but
I mean, the way these movies go, they'll come back eventually.
I mean, shit, maybe we'll get that one Japanese actor from Tokyo Drift to come back. The guy that oh my God, what's his other name? The guy from Friday Night Lights beat in the whole drifting down the mountain. Who knows? It'd be kind of cool if they all. Oh, what if they do like an Injustice League of Fast and Furious characters?
I mean, at this point, these are superhero movies anyway. They're going to do a whole team up. They're going to have spin-offs. They're going to be like children of these characters that become their own team. It's like, it's this whole, the Fast and Furious franchise, like I said, it's its own universe, like superhero thing. So, whatever. They're going to do it at this point. Like, if you think it, they'll do it.
I mean, the last one with the no bridge, them swinging a car across an island. It's just a lot of things, John. Like, now that they can just catch people midair and land on a car perfectly okay, not dead. They break the. We're getting distracted, Burn. And even though these are some good thoughts, I think if Universal's watching this, somebody from Universal, give us the writers credit if we do form an Injustice League of villains for the new Fast movies. Anyways, we also have some new actors joining this time. Actually, a good slew of actors that really piled on into this movie. Like, we got Brie Larson, Alan Rickson. I'm not really sure how to say his name, but he was in Hunger Games Part 2. He's the star of the new Reacher series on Prime, which is a really good series. I definitely recommend checking that out. We also have Daniela Melchior come in for it. Besides Jason Momoa, and I'm sure there's a couple new people I'm missing. I just can't name off the top of my head.
I guess, yeah, Rita Moreno, right? I had to ask you earlier if she was like in any of the previous movies. Again, I don't retain a lot of knowledge when it comes to these things, but she showed up in this one, and I didn't remember her from the last one, so I'll just go ahead and say here that she's new too.
Yeah, she does make an appearance in this movie, and with the Fast franchise, like Byrne joked about, they're definitely digging back into some of the older movies. So if you haven't really watched all of them, at least from 4 on, I think you're definitely going to be kind of in the loop on certain things, especially 5. If you haven't watched 5, then it's like this may not make much sense to you. Well, they kind of spell it out, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've been dreading this movie all year because I know they make bank, but at this point, after last year's movie, I'm like, I am done with Fast and Furious, just because it's gotten so ridiculous and all this that I can't buy into it. And I know people say, like, what, you like the whole secret agent stuff, all that. I was like, kind of, yeah. It gave it a little bit more purpose, But in all honesty, like I said, I had a lot more fun with this movie than the last one. And I know the last one was kind of the last, like, decently critic-reviewed movie, where this one has definitely been taking a hit for it. But like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. Bern, what did you think of this movie?
I mean, I second your opinion. I did not enjoy the last two movies, really, especially the last one. It was just, I mean, these movies, they'd say that they're dumb fun. I mean, they forgot the fun in the last movie. It was just dumb, and it was like really boring, and I felt like, man, at this point, like, there's nothing really else I can do to keep this series entertaining. I'm not one of its biggest fans by any means. I'm probably one of its biggest detractors, so it has a little bit of an uphill battle for me to enjoy these movies, but. Walking away from this one, I will say I did have a lot more fun in this one than the last two. And a lot of that has to do with Jason Momoa's character. He plays, the villain here in this one, and not to give away too much, but, his performance in this one feels that fun factor that I felt was missing from the last couple of movies. So, him, coming in and really lighting things up, it was pretty cool. I mean, this movie, plot is not something you come in for. It's just a means to get cars to crash into each other. But the action in this one felt a lot more kinetic and a little bit more dangerous this time around. They definitely grounded it a little bit more than the last movie, especially. And I think that was a smart move. And the way it was filmed was a little bit more kinetic, I'll say. So when the action scenes do pop off, they're very entertaining. And unlike the last one, they're not boring at all. That being said, I mean, you can definitely tell when coming into this movie, because they're pitching this as like, the beginning of the end, right? How this is like either 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 of the last like story that they're going to tell. Sure. Like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. But with this one, you can tell they were definitely influenced by like Infinity War with the way like the story plays out, where all these characters are fractured and they're all like on the back foot, and I like that. I like that these characters have to like react and get inventive with the ways that all the tools that they used to have before they don't have access to now. So it leaves them in a little bit more of an entertaining space. That being said, I think they make the crucial mistake of not having as good of a central performance as like Infinity War, where that movie was like Thanos' movie. This movie is not Jason Momoa's movie. It's still very much, centered with the Fast and Furious characters. And I think in doing so, like, it doesn't really leave any room for it to be like interesting in any way. Like, this one definitely feels like it's not like part of of its own thing. It very much feels like a part one. So by the time I left this movie, although the action sequences were fun, it was just like it felt like incomplete. And then there's kind of like a weird place to say that that these Fast and Furious movies are. It's just like, okay, it just ends and you're like, that this doesn't feel like it's done yet. It's like very much part one.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, yeah, I think the action was better. I think Jason Momoa, like, while you say it's not his movie, I think he definitely gave this franchise some much needed energy. Because like John Cena is a good actor, definitely not in the last one though. He was way better in like Suicide Squad and his own show Peacemaker. But it was good seeing him again in this movie. I think everyone had a lot more fun this time around, even though the stakes are higher. It's definitely the darkest one in a while, I feel like, because last one was supposed to be decently dark, but I just thought it was ridiculous. Fate of the Furious was pretty messed up too. There were a couple really dark tones in that one. So I thought this was a good refresher for it. At least, can they make a trilogy out of it? I kind of hope not, because we're 10 movies in. We don't need 12. Just finish it in the next one. That's just me talking. But at least this one had some awesome cars this time around. I feel like more so than the last movie did. So I was very thankful for that. But yeah, like I said, I think Jason Momoa is definitely my primary reason for enjoying it. Just because you could definitely tell he was giving it his all, like just giving his most fun performance. Having said all that, I'm gonna still give it a 2 out of 5, just because, again, like mostly just because it's so ridiculous. They're really digging for a story, and when you have to do that much, like have to reach back into your saga to kind of create something, it's like, that's just sad in my opinion. But again, the characters were a lot of fun to watch. Great cars, solid action. I do appreciate the more practicality of some of the effects, because I even think the director said, no, we want to make this I want to go back to more practical effects, make it more grounded, just because I think that's where the franchise is really all about. And I agree with him. So, yeah. Bernard, what would you give your ranting rating?
I'm also going to give this one a 2 out of 5. Like I said, I did really enjoy that they dialed it back on a lot of the more annoying aspects of this series. It's a little bit more grounded. I think the humor this time around, especially with Tyrese's character, was a little bit more dialed back, where in last movie it was like every single line had to be a joke. And I think that it has to do a lot with the tone that you mentioned. Like I said, this is a little bit of a darker tone, a little bit more of like a Infinity War feel. Like you can tell that's what they were aiming for. They didn't quite hit it, but they were aiming for that at least. So like I said, it gives the characters a little bit more interesting things to do, I think. And for someone, again, that doesn't really enjoy these movies, I've at least found myself entertained and wanting to know what happens. And I will say that to this movie's credit, I do want to know what happens in the next one. Whereas before I was just like, I can like not watch these anymore and be done with it. But this one, I'm like, okay. Because it is incomplete, the movie, I'm like, I need to know how this ends. So, tip of the cap to there for making me want to see the next one, to see how this sort of like story wraps up. But yeah, the new people involved were fun. Brie Larson is there. She's a little bit underutilized, as are a lot of the newer characters. But they make a lot of their moments, and especially with the action sequences, they do a lot. And I think like you said, the use of practical effects is really cool here. But yeah, other than that, it's a very standard Fast and Furious movie, so you kind of know what you're getting when you come into it. But as for me, I had much more fun than the last two, so yeah, like I said, 2 out of 5. Not like the greatest thing in the world, but at least I didn't feel like I wasted my time, watching this movie.
No, I still liked it way better than Morbius and all that garbage. So, yeah, that says a lot for me. But also,
that's a totally out of pocket thing. We do not besmirch the name of our great Lord and Savior Morbius.
Yes, we freaking do. Don't you dare make me say that. Also, for those of you who do want to see it in theaters, I definitely recommend on $5 Tuesday. But if you're clamoring for it, definitely see it ASAP while it's still in IMAX and all those big format screens. And there is a post-credit scene / mid-credit scene, so do not forget to stick around for that, because actually it kind of does hint what's going to happen in the next one, at least part 2 or of 3 or part 2 of 2. So yeah, for those of you who did see it though this last weekend, what did y'all think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you kind of meh by it? Or do you agree with me and Burn that action was great, this movie still sucked? Please let us know in the comments. We got some good stuff coming out, like Little Mermaid's coming out. And for the rest of the month, I'm blanking out right now as well, but I know Little Mermaid's like one of the biggest ones. And
yeah, I think that like ends the month, and then we start the next one off with Spider-Verse, I believe, which
yes,
I'm excited for that.
Yes, and then we also have like June's gonna be a stacked month, so I'm really excited for that.
Very stacked.
Yes, so stay tuned for all those reviews, guys, and of course stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody, be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.